seeded sourdough loaf. I'm going to put together a pumpkin seed, flaxseed, and sunflower seed sourdough, but I'm soaking my seeds. So I did 30 grams of flax seeds, I did 20 grams of sunflower and 20 grams of pumpkin seeds. And I'm going to soak them and add them in on the first or second round of stretch and folds, because that will stop it from tearing your dough as much. But also having them absorb some of the water also reduces them taking the water content out of your sourdough. So that's the two reasons why I'm soaking them first. So I'm going to go in with 95 grams of sourdough starter, add in 345 grams of water. Mix. And then I'm going to add 457 grams of bread flour. See if I have enough here. It looks like I'm going to, but that's okay. I have my big tub behind me. Add 9 grams of salt. And mix. Now I'm going to go scrape down my sides and then go in and mix the last bit with that. Cleaning down the sides of your bowl is what's going to help your dough come out a little bit cleaner from your bowl. But it also makes sure you're getting all of that flour incorporated into the dough when you do your initial mixing. And this sourdough is 75% hydration, and without the seeds makes a 900 gram sourdough loaf. So with the seeds, it will probably be a little bit more. But this, you can see the seeds had probably a good centimetre above the seeds with water, and that's how much liquid is left. And it's only been sitting for probably 10 minutes so far. So that's how much water that they're absorbing. And that would come out of your dough absorption if you're mixing that in your initial mixing unsoaked. So you can see how that will affect your hydration of your dough if you don't soak them. Okay, take the glove off. I'm going to temp my dough. It's 28.1. So that's about a 5.5 hour bulk fermentation. But you also need to look for signs that your dough has reached its peak fermentation as well. And it is, oops, what am I doing? It is 125. So I will let this sit for its first 1 hour, and then I'll come back and do stretch and folds. I'm thinking of adding the seeds in the first round of stretch and folds for this one. Normally I do the second and third rounds, but I'm thinking of adding it in the first so that it has more rounds of folds to incorporate them throughout the dough better. So I will bring you back when I'm ready to do that round of stretch and folds. All right, we're going to do our first round of stretch and folds on the seeded sourdough loaf. And you can see that my seeds have used up pretty much all of the excess water that it had. So I'm not even going to drain them. But if you had a lot of water left, I would suggest draining them. And I just flicked seeds everywhere. Right, So I've got that in there, and I'm going to do stretch and folds. And that's the reason I'm adding them now as well, is so that it has the 4 rounds of coil folds to get them incorporated into the dough, because this first round it's not going to fully incorporate them. So I'm just going to push them down underneath. Trying to get them up inside of it as best as possible, but that will happen on some sequent rounds. So I'm going to let that sit now. Oops. I think because of that little bit of excess water, it's just made it very slippery and come apart a little bit. So we're just going to let it sit, and in that next bit of time frame, it will absorb the rest of that flour, and the next rounds will be much easier. So I will come back then. Round 2 of coil folds for the seeded sourdough loaf. So I'm just spraying my gloves, and I'm going in with coil folds. Because of that extra little bit of water from the seeds, it's made it a very, a much more hydrated dough. Not much, but it is more hydrated, which is actually quite nice, because look how stretchy it gets when it's more hydrated. I actually quite like working with higher hydration doughs now, just because they feel so much nicer. And I'm glad I did it on the first round, so that it has got more time to incorporate all those seeds. But it was just starting to tear there, so I don't want to continue. I've done that round of stretch and coil folds, so I'm going to do 2 more, let it bulk ferment, and then we'll be back for shaping.